just always stay in the distance. Like you can't ever get closer to them, it seems like.
We're time traveling.
We're time traveling.
It's a flashback.
You're talking about your metabolism slowing down. I don't know that I ever actually had one.
You know what? We should run a marathon.
Yeah, right. Like right now?
Well, I'm definitely not doing it right now.
One of the stations is also a slot machine. And,
Hello and welcome to Northside Now. This is the podcast where we take you on a tour through all of the ministries and the latest happenings around Northside Church to keep you better connected with your church family. My name is Patrick, and with me as always are my two wonderful co-hosts, Glenn Miller and Kevin Bryant.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Happy New Year, guys.
It is good to be back.
It is. We've survived two snow apocalypses
And a monsoon.
Since we've last visited with y'all.
Yeah, I think I have not totaled this up, so this is off the top of my head, but it must have been probably 2,500 miles I've driven in the last 2 weeks.
Oof.
But I'm very thankful because we did get to visit family. We haven't done that for a couple years now. So, there were some that were not there.
Yeah.
Some actually did have, not COVID, it turns out, but flu-like symptoms or something, so they stayed away. But it was nice. We didn't get to see everyone, but it's a good reminder how, at least for our family, that's tradition and pretty important. I know some families don't get together, but I realized how much I missed it. Yeah. So it was good. We got to go to a new place. Some of our family lives out in Oklahoma, so I hadn't, other than driving through, never really spent any time out there. So we got to do that after New Year's. So it was really awesome.
Oklahoma has got some good sunsets and sunrises.
It does.
Big sky.
Yeah, it does. And some of it's really hilly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I guess is the word I would use. I wouldn't say mountains, but they're pretty large hills.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect that. I expected it to look like
Kansas?
Montana. Well, I've been to Montana and it's flat like that. And I've said this before on this podcast. You drive through Montana, you can see the Rockies in the distance and they just always stay in the distance. Like you can't ever get closer to them, it seems like. But Oklahoma, parts of it are definitely hilly. So it was, I thought it was neat. Lots of red dirt, which for me is like home. I grew up east of Jackson and there was red dirt all the time over there. Okay. And so that seemed pretty familiar. So it was really neat.
Cool.
Really enjoyed it.
Good deal. What about you, Patrick? we're going to do something here in a minute. And you weren't married when we did this other thing, but you're now. So how was the married Christmas?
Married Christmas is all right.
Good.
It helps that her family is 500 miles away, so it takes the competing on which family we spend Christmas with out of the equation a little bit.
Good point.
We did go to South Carolina. Actually we met her family in North Carolina the week after Christmas, so we still drove over there and did that. But it was good. Yeah.
Well, good deal. Like Kevin, like you're saying, seeing some family is sure better than seeing no family.
Right.
We've all learned that lesson in the last couple of years for sure. So good to have the holidays and in a way kind of good for them to be over, and we're moving into new days here at Northside, and we just recently had the State of the Church address and that went well, and so we definitely have some challenges laid before us, and it's going to be fun to go and tackle each of those little things as we get a chance to. So 2022 ought to be a fun year.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I think the challenge for me is the challenge that's for me every year is how do you keep the momentum of the excitement of the new year, the promise of new possibilities and all of that going throughout the year.
Yeah.
And to try and be more intentional. And we talked about this with our family on various different levels. How do we be more intentional and be more successful in being consistent? And it's hard because life gets busy and we already have kids with sports schedules and lots of stuff going on. But how can we prioritize our faith and relationship with Jesus and be consistent throughout the year? So I think that's a good challenge. And it's a good thing that we're going to replay this episode today as well.
Yeah, which is a great toss over to what we're going to do for you today is because of so much going on in we got first time ever in Northside Now history, we've been snowed out of a podcast day. So we all snuck in here at a different time after the snow and made the decision that last year, our number one, what was our number one?
Number one episode was episode 4, Men of Valor.
And it was so great that we thought we would just replay it again for you.
It's still applicable.
It is. It is with Jeffrey Head, who is one of the plank owners, as they would used to say in the Navy, but one of the first guys to start Men of Valor about 12 years ago now. Yeah. And he just has some great advice and talks about Men of Valor, who meets from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock every Tuesday and Thursday morning here at Northside at the gym. And we also have pretty regularly, I think they're taking a small break right now, yoga, like at 10 or 10:30 on Monday mornings. So if you're interested in any of those kinds of things, and you can get with me if you just would need a good, safe place to walk and it's warm, or if you'd prefer to walk outside and maybe your neighborhood's not safe, get with me and I can help you get around the parking lot or inside in the gym and things like that. But yeah, Jeff does a great job. So we're going to toss this all the way back to the very beginning of last year. Yeah. That's a pretty long toss.
We're time traveling.
We're time traveling.
It's a flashback.
Well, it is good to be here. It's also good to be here with another friend in our presence. Jeffrey Head is with us today. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you.
It is good to have you here. And Jeff is here because it's fitness season.
That's right. Get your gym membership back up.
That's right. That's right. We're going to get in shape in 2021. That's what we're all about, right? Everyone's got their resolutions ready. So, anyone have any great resolutions you want to share with the crew?
Well, I do soccer refereeing on the side, and usually doesn't pick back up until March or so in the spring. And so, the last few years, I've actually started doing more interval training. And so, I've noticed that as I'm doing more running and those kinds of things, and I haven't been doing as much weight training, I've noticed, I'd lose muscles in certain areas. And I really noticed that a few years ago when I started doing some half marathons. It was just sort of a joke with my brother-in-law. It was after Thanksgiving dinner. And he said, you know what? We should run a marathon. And I was like, yeah, right.
Like right now?
Well, I'm definitely not doing it right now.
But
it became a family thing where my wife and I, and Lori and I, and his wife as well, we just trained for, doing a half marathon. He had never run one before. I had never run one either. I opted for the half version as opposed to the full, but I started to get into running a little bit more.
Yeah.
Something with the goal in mind, because I never really enjoyed just going out and running before. A lot of people do, but I didn't. And that gave me a reason to do it and to push toward it. And so I've done 3 of those now. Don't know if I'll ever do them again, but I did notice that my body started changing.
Yeah.
The muscle groups were different that you'd use playing soccer versus just straight out endurance running. So I really want to get back into a little more balance this year. I do feel like cardio wise and heart wise, I get into pretty good shape, but I just want to build more strength. And as I'm getting older, the metabolism slows down and I'm really starting to notice it. So that's kind of my goal for this year, is to be more balanced.
That's good. That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. Mine's also fitness related. I'm, as some of you may know, I'm getting married in June. All right. Well, hopefully, knock on wood.
It'll happen.
He is.
But yeah, I gotta look good for those wedding pictures. You know what I mean? So I'm going to try to trim down.
Well, and you've already done a fair amount of weight stuff, right?
I've been working on it, and my resolution is really to kind of crack back down and get back to where I was last year at the beginning of the year, because I was real strict about it for a good while, and then I kind of slacked up a little bit. So it's to kind of crack down and lose those last 5, 10, 50 pounds before the wedding. So
get to your fighting weight.
Get back to my fighting weight. Right. I don't know that I ever had one, but you're talking about your metabolism slowing down. I don't know that I ever actually had one.
Well, those are good ones. Yeah. I mean, for me, it's just, trying to stay active, and as you get older, and, you earn the title of Pops, to a little guy. You want to be able to get in the floor with him and hang out and do all that with minimal effort and and break down on your body. So the continuation of just continuing the journey is really good. But Jeff, what about you? I know it's something about you, and we'll maybe talk about this a little bit more in a minute, but you used to do a lot of the 5Ks and those kinds of things in town. And because of COVID, a lot of those have even gone virtual. But I mean, I know a lot of these nonprofits and things use these as fundraisers and not just a fundraiser, but also community awareness.
Oh, sure.
And you haven't been able to do those really. Have you done any of the virtual ones or anything?
No, I haven't done any virtual ones. And gosh, it's probably been 2 years since I've done one because I getting older, these get worse.
Yeah,
that kind of, you know how it is.
I definitely feel that.
So I haven't done those, but they're for me, it wasn't really about winning.
Yeah.
You know, I have won some medals in the past and those kind of things, but to get out there with my buddies and some of these buddies that were with Men of Valor, you know, and that was really cool to run obstacle course races and things like that, you know, and just getting the T-shirt, right?
Yeah.
You know, because you kind of wear that proudly. Yeah, that's right. I finished.
Yeah, I did that.
You know, and I'll tell you a funny story about a race if I can. We used to run the 4-miler down at Shiloh. It's a certified 4-mile race through the park, and it's put on by the Rotary Club down there. And so I'm running, and you know, if you've ever been to Shiloh, if you're down there in April, the trees are so big, there's no breeze.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you might catch a breeze every so often, and man. And I'm coming into the last mile, and I'm hearing this behind me. I'm hearing some, woo, 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 and I'm like, what is coming up behind me? And it kept getting closer and closer, and I was getting scared.
It may be one of those ghosts. You know, Shiloh's haunted. So.
And all of a sudden, this old guy in full jogging attire passes me, and in the back of his sweatshirt said, "You just got passed by a 78-year-old."
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, and he's making that kind of noise, you know. So, but that was very telling. You know, this guy, hey, he's out there doing it. That's number one. Get out and do it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, Jeff mentioned Men of Valor, and that's one of the reasons he's here is because there has been a group for about the last 10 or 11 years that has met at 4:30, starting out to 4:45 every Tuesday and Thursday morning for the last 10 or 11 years. I can't believe that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long time.
Wow. And that started off way back then. I'm the one who started that. That was my crazy idea as a Lenten journey. Mm-hmm. Oh, let's do this for Lent. Let's do this for Lent. And I talked to TJ King and Jeff and some other guys that were Mike Pace and some other guys that were a part of just that kind of age circle. And like, would you be interested in doing something like that? And sure. And Easter came and I want to keep going. And it just kind of kept going and going and going. Mm-hmm. And I can't believe it's been that long.
Yeah. You know, they talk about the 60 days. It takes 60 days to create a habit, something like that. You know? And we got down to Easter. We Glenn's like, you guys can we can keep going or whatever. And we all looked at each other, and I remember that happening. We said, see you guys next Tuesday. Or, you know, I mean, it was something like that. Yeah. And we just kept going. We haven't stopped.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty
some
cool.
of us did. I participated
you did.
for a few weeks there.
Yeah, you did.
that 4:30 time frame just that was rough for me.
Yeah.
Up until that point, I thought 4:30 just happened once a day. So
that's really good. You know, when I used to work a real job, I guess I would say, but back in my corporate days, 4:30 was not a bad idea. It was really perfect because it was early, but it was something that you could do and then, you know, get ready and then go to work, and you'd have the benefit of that exercise in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, that's not for everybody, obviously.
Yeah,
but for folks that have, you know, either maybe an early start to their workday or, you know, a more of a regular schedule, I think that would make a lot of sense for people.
It's and now we officially start at 5. That's when we actually start. So everybody kind of drags in around 4:45.
Yeah.
You know, we set up some stuff, and you know, right now a couple of us are in injured reserve. You know, and I actually 3 weeks ago today I took a spill while working out.
Oh, really?
Dislocated this right shoulder. So,
Oh no!
I rolled when I tripped over some weights. We were running, tripped over some weights, and rolled over and looked down and thought, that seems kind of strange. My arm is staying on the ground and my body's coming up, you know? So, yeah, it was rough, but hey, it's worth it. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but it really and truly is.
Hey, no pain, no gain, right?
That's right. That's right.
Well, and there's definitely something about exercising with people. You know, I've experienced that myself, and a lot of times when you're a runner, obviously you have the mental game going on, and there's something going on inside you. But when you're running with someone else, it does tend to either distract you or help you bear kind of the burden together. And there's definitely something biblical about that. But there is something unique and different with exercising with your friends, or people that you know more than just an acquaintance that you see at the gym every couple of weeks or something. That can help you stick to something, right?
Yeah, just having that accountability partner,
and that was built into Men of Valor from the beginning. It being a Lenten journey is we didn't want to just add something or take something away. We wanted it to be from a biblical perspective, and all of us were looking for a tribe, a group of men to be with and do some things with, outside of family and work and those kinds of things. And so the last 15 minutes, it would vary from time to time, year to year. The last 15 minutes or so were dedicated to devotion, study, sharing, those kinds of things. And that's always been a real special moment. And just to be completely transparent on a radio is I have not been a part of Men of Valor on the active roster for a few years now. And so I always want to come back, and I keep thinking I will. It's just my life has changed. Just that 5 o'clock is tough now.
Well,
it used to
now
be so easy.
Is Men of Valor open to new members?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll tell you. And like Glenn said, we started out, it was Active Valor? Was that the video series?
Yeah, it was from the movie Active Valor. There was a Bible study some guys did, and that was the first thing we did.
They were Navy SEALs, and for me, what was really a turning point for me was listening and watching those guys talk about their walk, their faith, and being tough. Just, hey, I can, do all these tough things that men see, but you're not always involved with. And I'm like, these guys, they love Jesus.
Yeah.
Now, and there's nothing wrong with that, guys. And you're like, hey, this is pretty cool. This is gonna, and it helps transform you. It makes you a better man. It makes you, a better father, a better husband, those kind of things. And I know that may sound real cliches, but it's not. Particularly when you see that happening. And then you have your buddies that are sweating beside you. They're the ones slapping you on the back going, you come on, you can do one more push-up,
right?
One more pull-up, let's add some weight, let's do this, let's run a lap, let's do these kind of things. And you've got that accountability, what Patrick said. That's huge. And another series we did was called Stepping Up. Remember that one, Glenn?
Yeah, Stepping Up with, that was really good.
Yeah. And that basically said, look, there's no shame in being a man.
Exactly.
But there's a lot of factors in being a man. You don't have to always be tough. You can be very gentle. You can be kind. You can love people. And that's interesting because these are things that, as guys, if you're married, that you don't necessarily sit down with your spouse and go, gosh, I just love to do this or what, because you have that mind frame that I've got to be the man of the house and I'm going to go fix the toilet, ladies. So,
well, one of the things that I'd love to hear is a couple of things, but the first, kind of walk us through what a workout looks like. Is it just really heavy? I don't think it's machines because there's not tons of machines in this building, but kind of for anybody that hasn't been involved in it, which would be me, what does that look like on a kind of a typical day?
Well, the biggest thing we tell folks, particularly if they're new, if you go at your own pace and do what you can. Don't try to show off. And we joke sometimes that we get some young folks in here and they really want to tear it up and everything. And we've had guys that went so hard they had to go outside and throw up.
Really?
Yeah. And we tell folks, and there's no shame in that. Just come on, we're not here to show off.
Yeah.
We're here to help one another. But as far as a typical workout, there's a warm up. We when we run, we run. A lot of times we take a lap or two around the church outside, warm up, stretching, stretch our legs, stretch our upper body, all that kind of stuff. Sometimes we set up stations in the corners of the basketball court. We set a timer. We work that station. Then we take a lap. Do it again. Then we'll finish up with a typical abdominal workout for about 15 minutes. And then we sit around and we talk about, hey, guys, what's going on? Tell me what you need. Does anybody have any prayer concerns? Tell me, how's your mom doing?
Right.
And it's gotten to that point that we know so much about each other, And what's really cool, and it's a lot like Vegas, what happens or what's talked about at Men of Valor stays there.
Yeah.
So, and that's real important for guys.
That's probably one of the few things that has in common with Vegas.
Exactly. Lots of exercise.
Yeah.
Well, the early
one
morning,
of the stations is also a slot machine.
the early mornings. That's the other part.
That's that tricep workout. Is you pull down.
But my point is, that guys need that. They need that inner circle.
Yeah.
They need, hey, I can come here and I can humble myself. I can come here and I can tell you where I'm vulnerable because I think you understand it, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so that means a lot.
Yeah.
As far as people coming to show up, we take all ages. I know there's some young men that are doing a workout session now, but
yeah, we do. So I am still a part of Men of Valor, but I have the afternoon version now. We have some of our young men, high school guys, that actually came to me and said, we're getting ready to go on this hiking trip for Scouts, but we need to get in better shape. And this was back during quarantine. In summertime. And I said, okay, so we do the same exact thing that Men of Valor do. And we use, some of the weights and stuff that we have here, and we walk and we run and we do all the body work and stuff like that. But whenever a group of guys that are high schoolers say, I want to come and work out, and they ask you, will you help us? I'm not ever going to say no to that. And so they come in the afternoon, and then we've had some people, Patrick and I have worked out quite a bit. That's kind of a continuation of that. And it's all spurred from Men of Valor. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And like you said, it's everybody. One of the things for Men of Valor, this story just has to be told. And it just has to be told, is we had a guy one day, and we'll just call him Mark. And Mark had a heart attack, and it's like, y'all, Mark's had a heart attack. It wasn't during a workout or anything.
Okay.
And we're like, what in the world? I can't, we were all very concerned. And well, when it all gets down to it, and Mark's heart had actually began to reroute because of a clog, the vessels for it.
Wow.
And had that not happened, had he not been working out, had he not been a part of a group like that was pushing him and stuff, he wouldn't have been with us.
Yeah.
And that is just, man, every time I think, I get chills. Like even right now, I still get chills about that. And, he's a good friend, and we fish and do all kinds of stuff together and stuff. But it's just a matter of, when you get in with a group of people like that can just help push you, it literally saved his life. We say it's stuff like that in churches, but that's a real, true, literal thing.
And I'll tell you something else. Mike Pace is the one that kept seeing him at church and kept saying, hey, slapping him on the shoulder, hey man, come work out with us. It's a great group of guys. Come on, come work out with us. Come work out. And he did, and he lost a lot of weight right up front. But his cardiologist told him, he said, if you hadn't have been doing those workouts, you probably wouldn't be with us.
Yeah.
And you're right. It kind of sends a chill down your spine.
Yeah.
It's huge. And we've had guys, Mike and I ran a foot race down in Bemis once, and ran into somebody we knew, this young man's father. And we start telling him, hey, you need to come and work out with us on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Didn't go to church here. Went down to First Methodist downtown.
Yeah.
And ends up coming and working out. And he stayed with us about 4 or 5 years, maybe.
Yeah. And it's been kind of fun, guys from different churches. And there was a woman's component, Women of Valor, for a good long time, because some of the wives and other folks got to talking. It was like, hey, they're doing that. We want to do it too.
Right.
We were like, well, okay, but we don't want to share our time with you. Well, so they went on Mondays and Wednesdays. And they've since disbanded kind of because they were just all doing other things and moving on. That's hard to do that for years and years and years, but they did for a good long time too as well.
You know, another workout or a couple of other workouts. There's been times that, particularly in the summer, we'll grab a tractor tire and a sledgehammer and some cinder blocks and some big boards, and we just go out in the parking lot and do that. Just create a workout from that. So I mean, and if you're listening to this podcast, that you don't have to have fancy weights. You don't have to have the machines. You know, we do. There's some workouts we do. We do nothing but set chairs on the wall, and we'll do chair dips and push-ups and step-ups, and that's all we do is use a chair, and that's the workout. Glenn created a thing called the Gauntlet. I know Patrick's run the Gauntlet. You know, and you know, it's an obstacle course that's it's kind of interesting. It's right here. I mean, we created it ourselves, or Glenn did. You know, and we'll take a deck of cards. You know, all the aces are a lap, or not a lap. Let's see, all the aces are, you know, something. And if it's a club, then those are push-ups. A heart's a sit-up, and those kind of. And so, so you go through 52 cards, and you do so many push-ups and sit-ups and those kind of things. And it's just, so my point is, it doesn't have to be fancy.
Right.
You don't have to have the fancy machinery.
Yeah, I mean, I know when I was growing up, I don't do it as much anymore, but chopping wood is a fantastic workout. Not only musculature, but just the endurance of it. So breaking things with a sledgehammer gives you your aggression out too. But there's tons of things like that. You're right, that you can do that don't have to be you know, really complicated. So I like that. One of the things that I would love to hear, you've been involved with it for 10 years, maybe physically, but just kind of holistically, what do you see as a difference in you after 10 years of being involved in Men of Valor? And I think a lot of it may have to do with the community that you talked about, with, you know, building relationships with other guys and having that network. But is there anything else that kind of comes to mind when you think about?
Well, yeah, the camaraderie is definitely there. And it's not just Sunday morning camaraderie. It's not just Tuesday and Thursday morning camaraderie. We have helped guys move, you know. The guy that sent this Christmas card here that moved to Georgia, we helped him pack his whole house and move one Saturday. We've moved playground equipment, you know. I'm just thinking of those things off the top of my head, things that we've done for each other. And so that's unique. I think, too, the commitment and the dedication. There's plenty of mornings that I roll out of bed at 4:15 and go, I can't do this. You know, and you say that. But as soon as my feet hit the floor, I'm like, I've got to do it for these guys. And it becomes selfless.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Obviously, there's a huge benefit. You get the benefit of working out and breaking a sweat, and some days you may not break a sweat. We recently had a member that's recovering from cancer, and he just trying to get back at it. He guys, I can't run. I'm not supposed to lift. Well, I'll tell you what, let's just walk around the church. Let's walk, and it's a slow pace, but that's okay. So for an hour, all we do is walk around the church, and that's okay.
It's perfect.
So, I definitely get that out of it. It's hard to explain until you actually jump in and do it. It's similar to what you're talking about, your races. You know, on the front side, you're like, I can't do that. This is a tremendous uphill battle. But then, man, when you get halfway through it, you're like, man, I got this, you know.
And then usually I crash at about mile 12. I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
Hey, you make it to mile 12. I make it to like mile 0.12. You know,
it's not easy. It's definitely not easy.
I will tell you this. This is kind of funny, but there's been a few guys that we actually named certain exercises after, and Patrick's one of them.
Unfortunately,
we did. Well, I think you kind of came up with this deal, you know, where I'm trying to think. We start at the baseline and we run to the free throw, or the free throw line, and we do 20 push-ups. And then you sprint back to the baseline, and you sprint back to the half court line and do 10 burpees, and then back. So you're doing suicides at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah, but at each
and you're doing
line, you do a different 10 push-ups or 10 burpees or whatever each time. Yeah.
That sounds tough.
Patrick always wanted to do them, so we named him in his honor. Let's do some Patricks.
I love it.
Not that I could do that now, but maybe I need to get back into it.
Yeah, but I'll tell you something something else that's cool. We actually have one member that only shows up in the summertime or at Christmas break because he's a school teacher.
Yeah.
So that's neat. And one of the things that I really enjoy, and Glenn knows this, every Christmas we go to the Cracker Barrel and eat breakfast. We have a Men of Valor Christmas breakfast.
That's cool.
So I look forward to that all year.
Yeah,
okay?
of course.
And I don't miss those. I make those every time. Well, yeah. So, and besides just Men of Valor, we also have here at Northside, people can just come get the code and just come in and walk. 17 laps in the gym is a mile. 2.5-ish laps around the outside perimeter of the asphalt of the parking lot is a mile. And so you can do that. We also have at 10:30 on Mondays, we have yoga. Miss Nancy teaches a yoga class, and you can call the church and get information on how to get in touch with her. But she does that on Mondays, and lots of folks come to that and enjoy that time frame. But Jeff, thanks for coming and talking about Men of Valor.
Well, before we sign off, if people listening to this are wanting to join, how do they need to go about doing that? Do they need to get in touch with you, or do they need to just show up?
Just show up. That's the biggest thing. Now, I will say sometimes, and I'm really thinking about this coming Tuesday when Alabama defeats Ohio State in the national championship. That'll be a late night for me. So, sometimes one of us may call in or something, but typically, if we're not working out by 5 o'clock, then that's probably a day that we called. And it'd be a rare thing that some of us called in or something, but it could be that there's only going to be one guy, and that somebody, jobs, we have conflicts with that, those kind of things. But I would encourage anyone, there is no age limit. We have older folks that have worked out with us, young folks. There is no weight limit. We've had pretty large fellows that worked out with us and really helped themselves. And there's no skill level that you need. We're here to encourage people, and we're not a bunch of meatheads out here trying to, pump iron, and talk like Schwarzenegger, right? So, love for anybody to join us. It's a great group of men.
And that's Tuesday and Thursday?
Tuesday and Thursday.
Got it.
Yeah.
At 5 o'clock, 5 a.m.
Yep.
So,
awesome. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
I'll leave you. I'm going to leave you with a quick quote, if I could.
Please.
So Jimmy Buffett has a song called Fruitcakes. And one of the lines in that, and I think of this being an older man. I'm 50, I'll tell you. There's a line in there, his girlfriend says, "I treat my body like a temple, you treat yours like a tent." And I think that's typical for a lot of us males, that our wives, we go out to eat and they get the little dainty salad, and we order the cheeseburger fries. I'll take a beer and slice apple pie and a scoop of ice cream on the side, So to me, that's what Men of Valor helps battle, is that I don't want to look like a tent. My wife has a temple. I don't want to look like a tent.
Yeah. Well, and that's, 1 Corinthians 6:19 is, we are the temple of the Holy Spirit, and it reverts back to, the Spirit with the children in Israel, and he would rest in the tent or in the tabernacle, and and we're that place now, and so it is very biblical. Old Jimmy is sharing the gospel every day. So
one of the things I love about this ministry, as so many others, it's unique. It doesn't fit like a cookie cutter. It's not just a Bible study. But it's really the way, and then I see this in so many things. It's really the way our faith comes alive is through relationships.
Yeah.
And connecting with each other and being able to focus around something more than just the exercise. There's a study there too. Yeah. And this is really, when I think about my relationship with Christ, it's not just the church stuff.
Yeah.
It's so much more than that. It's really what happens outside of the physical building. In this case, it's in the building, but it's the relationships that matter. And that's where I think we really grow as people.
And the COVID, break situation, pandemic life that we've all been, has really exacerbated that. I mean, it's really shown that and put that on display, that those small group zones are really important because we, it's not all just about 1 hour a week.
Absolutely.
And we do social distance because the last thing I want to do is be up next to a bunch of sweaty guys.
Yeah. Hear that. Well, again, thank you for coming in. It's been a great, and definitely to share something here that's just been a big part of my life and a big piece of my heart and I'm still y'all's largest cheerleader. And I am coming back.
He says that about every 2 months.
I said, I am coming back. So.
Well, some wise words from our friend Jeff and the Men of Valor group. So, if you've got goals or things for your health, especially, get out there and get after it. Don't be sitting on the sidelines this year. Don't let 22 be your benched year.
Yeah, and they talk about 21 days to start a habit or to keep a habit going or form a habit maybe, but it always starts with a single step, and that's sometimes the hardest thing to do when you're trying to make change. I had this conversation with one of my kids last night. It's very oftentimes intimidating to do something new because you don't know how to do it maybe, but the first thing is to decide to do it and actually take a step to do something.
Yeah. When I used to go to the gym, I used to have an actual gym membership. And when I'd go, there was a sign on the door that said, know that showing up is half the battle.
Yeah.
And
it's true.
that's real true.
Yeah.
Just showing up is half the battle.
Absolutely. So. Whether it's fitness, whether it's diet, whether it's, just a plan to read your Bible more.
Yeah.
And you have to start somewhere. Just starting doesn't make it happen, but it does make it a little easier to keep going.
Well, I know for all of us here in the podcast room at Northside now that we've all talked over and around getting back in shape. I feel like everybody's getting their COVID poundage.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's time, COVID's starting to wane away a little bit. And so we need to get rid of the excess poundage that we gained from COVID. So know from us here in the podcast booth, we're going to be out there grinding just like y'all are. So we're going to be thinking of you, and if you'll help us and support us and think of us, we'll all be on this journey together because it's a good one. Now, I'm not going to promise we'll all be at Men of Valor, but you can be. So definitely check that out. When we get new things that pop up here that are, exercise or health related at the church, we'll let you know. Patrick, what else is going on around Northside? I know we're at the beginning of the year, kind of getting back in the groove, but things feel like they're moving forward here pretty quickly.
Go on the app. That's the best way to stay up to date on, all the current events. It's right there in your pocket whenever you need to check it. So,
and we learned that at State of the Church, right?
Yeah.
Look at what 3 places first or to keep up with what's going on at Northside.
Our main sources of communication moving into 2022 are the app and the website. And we're going to start doing a quarterly newsletter, which should be in March.
Yeah,
is the next one. And the information sheets in the bulletins.
Okay.
But the app and the website are for sure the main two most consistent, up to date, because I try to update that on a daily basis.
Yeah,
so
cool. And we have some updates and wonderful changes and some neat stuff that's going to be happening here at Northside now, just with all kinds of little things that are communicative here at Northside. So keep up with us, and I think we're going to have a great year. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thank everybody for listening and being a partner with us in this process, because at least that's the way I think about it. When I'm talking with you guys, I'm actually talking with a room full of people that listen to us. And so I really do consider you a part of the Northside family, however you're listening and wherever you're listening. Don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have a question or maybe a topic that you want to have covered. One of the things that we are considering doing is connecting with some different authors, potentially, and having discussions. I know that Kevin has some connections that he's mentioned in the past that he'd enjoy having be a part of this particular ministry. And so that's definitely one of the things we're considering as we go through the year upcoming. It's exciting.
Yep. Very exciting. Well, thanks for podcasting with me, guys. And thanks to everybody out there for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from us, you can follow us on Instagram at Northside Now Podcast, or go to our website, northsidejackson.com, or email us at podcast@northsidejackson.com. We hope to hear from you soon. Once again, this is Patrick.
This is Glenn.
And I'm Kevin.
And that's what's happening at Northside Now.